Hello, party people, and welcome back to live streaming. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Did a vacation, a cruise vacation in Miami, like a last minute. Norwegian Cruise Lines was like, here you go, here's a free cruise. And we're like, wait, what? And they're like, it expires in 60 days. It's like, ah. So I had to rapidly go change our plans and go fly down to the Caribbean or fly down to Miami, take a 1 week Caribbean cruise, first world problems. Then the funny part was that I had another cruise actually scheduled after that. I go away once a year. So I try to do it twice a year, but I've only been doing it once a year lately. And like go through all my goals, things that I want to do for businesses and personal life and stuff like that. And one of the things that I realized when I was out away on the goals is it probably doesn't make sense to do live streaming because the number of viewers that I get is so relatively low. There are only 3 of y'all in here right now watching live. I think what it probably makes more sense to do is just record while I'm working and not bother going live on Twitch so that way I can pause stuff when it makes sense. We don't have to worry about trying to schedule start times together or whatever. So this is probably going to be the last, we're up to 5 folks now, probably going to be the last live stream that I do. The rest of them I'm just going to publish for the early access subscribers over at smartpostgres.com. Just publish videos of recorded whatever times I happen to be working. Because plus two, what I find on a personal level is that when I know I have a live stream starting, like today, for example, at 10 a.m. Pacific, like the time between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. isn't very useful to me because I end up like doing things to prep for the live stream, or I've got to make sure that I'm here for the live stream. I didn't go walk my dog because it's hot as all hell here in Vegas. It's 101 degrees here at 10 a.m. So I, wanted to walk my dog, but I couldn't because I would sweat through my shirt and stuff like that. Whereas if I'm just recording whenever, then it tends to give me a little bit more flexibility. Having said all that, so what are today's missions? So today I want to step back and look at PHP admin versus DataGrip versus DBeaver versus Visual Studio Code to make sure that I'm on the right track for what apps I use when teaching the training classes. So when I teach the training classes, I try to focus on free tools because I want the largest possible audience. I want as many people as possible to be able to afford the tools that I'm using so that they can follow along. So I tend not to use paid stuff. I hear lots of good things about DataGrip, but I was like, well, let me go back through and do one more pass of stuff between the free tools before I continue settling on DBeaver. Because those of you who watch me do the live streams all the time, you see me curse and swear at DBeaver all the time. So here's what we're going to do. So I have put together over here a blog post, the skeleton of a blog post. Let's see if this works. Perfect. So I'm saying when you're writing, and only move it around just a little bit so that that's the wrong, I need the standing one. There we go. So when I'm, whoopsie daisy, let me click over in the right video screen. There we go. When you're writing and tuning Postgres queries, which visual editor is the easiest to use? I'm going to check out pgadmin, DataGrip, DBeaver Community, and VS Code with Microsoft's relatively new Postgres extension. There are 2 extensions for Postgres. There's like a community one, and then there's Microsoft's one, and I'm going to run Microsoft's one just because I think it's probably got the most legs long term. Then we'll try a few simple tasks: writing a single table query to test autocomplete, writing a multi-table query to test joins, creating a new table, and creating indexes on that table. I tell you what, as somebody who comes from a couple decades worth of using SQL Server Management Studio, I'm kind of stunned by the low quality out there for Postgres tools, like that it just isn't that good. And it sounds like, to me at least, it feels like this is really stupidly easy of a test, and yet tools keep failing these tests for me. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. So we're going to start with DBeaver just because it's the one that we've been using the most. So let's go fire open DBeaver, the community. I'm using the free community version here. I have a connection already set up to my streamer database. I'm running Stack Overflow locally here. So I'm just going to expand, and this is going to seem stupid, but you're going to see why this is actually hard later. I'm just going to expand the little Object Explorer here to show the streamer database server, the Stack Overflow database, the public schema, and then there are a few tables inside here. And DBeaver does this nice job of laying out the different tables, their sizes. You can also switch that, if I remember right, to number of rows. So let's go start a new query. I'll say SQL editor, new SQL script. And so my list of stuff that I'm going to test with, the first thing I said I was going to test with was a single table query. So we'll say test 1, a single table query. So what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to take out just the users table. We'll say select from users, you, and I'm going to alias it, where you. And see, so when you type in u dot whatever, you at least get autocomplete. Let's see. Turn off my check engine light. I have my check engine light on over here and it casts a little green shadow on me. You at least get autocomplete over here, so I can say where u display name and then hit tab equals, let's say, Brent Ozar. And then order by you, and I don't even have to type anything in. I just said order by. We'll do it again. Order by. Oh, now there it goes. U dot reputation descending, and then for columns, let's say u dot, and see we get nice autocompletes there. So we'll say u display name, u location, and u reputation, and u ID. And then we'll try executing that just to see how it works. And so we'll say execute. So far, so good. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All right, now let's try a multi-table query. So as far as I'm concerned, DBeaver passed this test. So let me switch over and move something over here so I can make sure I see your chats in my... Let's pop that out into a new window. How do I pop that out into a new window? There it goes. So that I can put that over on a monitor over here. So now let's try test 2. Test 2 multi-table query. Chris says one thing you might want to test is how autocomplete handles the columns for table joins. That is exactly what I want to do with test 2, which is the multi-table queries. So because we'll say select from users u, then I'm going to say join. So it correctly gives me a drop down of stuff that I might consider joining. Look at that. It even aliases them. Oh, I love it. That's phenomenal. Oh, gives me suggested aliases for them. Let's say from over to post P on, and let's just hold back and see. So it puts P first, which I'm actually not just a fan of personally. Generally, when I do joins, I want to put the first table first and the second column second. But we'll give it the benefit of the doubt there. It's probably lower on in the list. Oh, it's probably alphabetical is probably what it is. So on UID, and I'm just going to hold off and see what happens. It doesn't do anything. So we'll say equals. It doesn't autocomplete that. Okay, so P, ooh, that's interesting. So UID equals P, and then it gives me a couple of columns from the table, but not all. Just parent ID and post type ID. That's interesting because there are other IDs, and those aren't the correct joins either. PID equals U. It should be owner user ID. Now, there aren't foreign keys set up on the tables. Shouldn't be foreign keys set up on any of the tables. So maybe it picked like the two of them, two possible columns that did have foreign keys set up. So we'll say where, you love it, you display name equals Brent Ozar, order by P score descending. So we'll say P score, P title, P body, U display name. We'll set those up and then execute that and see how it goes. Now, this table doesn't have indexes on it most likely, so I'm kind of okay with this being a slow query. The thing that I was more worried about was just doing the query, period. So at least the query works. So I'm happy with that. I'd consider that a pass. The one thing that we were a little sketchy on was it didn't do exactly the right join order that I wanted, didn't suggest things correctly. That's okay though. So test 3 was create a table. So let's say, and we'll, no proposals. That's funny. We'll go ahead and cancel that just because I don't need the, oh, I could have said limit 1, I suppose. So let's say, create table, DB, or test 1, and then let's hit enter. Okay. My ID. It doesn't give me a lot there. It doesn't give me as much as I would kind of want. So I'm not thrilled with that. I would kind of consider that a fail. I would kind of want to see data types there. So I'm gonna say this isn't such a success. Let's try test 4, create an index. So we'll say create index ix1 on users. So I had an open parentheses on users, and it gives me things that are not really very useful there. That's kind of a bummer. Because if I said display name, for example, display name. So, oh, you know what else I should test? I should test something that's wrong and see if it fixes it. But at least there, we know it wasn't doing an autocomplete. That's kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, it's working. It's not like it's a bad statement. I'll go ahead and cancel that. So I'm kind of surprised. I'm also kind of surprised that it's fuzzy underlining these. The fuzzy underline is because of the SQL error canceling statement due to user request. Okay. So how do we rate DBeaver? I'd say it did pretty well on the single table query with autocomplete and with autocomplete both in the selects, in the wheres, and the order bys. On the test 2, pretty good success, did great on the autocompletes there. All right, next, let's go try DataGrip. So DataGrip, I was trying earlier after I installed it, and I was kind of surprised by, this is what really prompted this video. What in the what? Okay, so that took a while in order to load. Now what's going on over here? So I've got Stack Overflow at localhost. I've got the Stack Overflow database, and then it's not showing any objects. It's not showing any objects. We know that there's stuff under Stack Overflow public. DBeaver shows it successfully. Stack Overflow, schema public, here are our tables. But DataGrip, like there's no errors or anything going on here, and it just doesn't show anything. So then I thought, well, can I like delete this and restart it? If I right click on here, there's a deactivate and it's grayed out. I can hit refresh, and it doesn't seem to do anything. I don't know, like introspection level, I assume that this means that it's checking to see what tables are there. And I have auto select on. I didn't change anything from the beginning. Diagnostics, force refresh. It doesn't seem to be showing me the contents of my tables, which is so weird. Now it's like frozen. Now, to be fair, this is running in a VM, so and I'm also doing live streaming and recording the live stream. I have 4K cameras coming into it, so maybe it's a processor thing. I down here it does say under here performing incremental inspection, and it's just kind of stuck. Let's try hitting. Okay, so that seemed to, all of a sudden it disappeared. Let's try Stack Overflow Public. There's still nothing in it. And there's nothing in the status thing down there. Let's try, under Diagnostics, let's try the force refresh again, because it was doing incremental before. All right, so now It's doing this introspection stuff. Just says in, doesn't say if it's like in progress. I can't tell if it's actually still running. I'm going to move this over just a little so that y'all can see it at the same time I'm here. I can't tell if it's still going. This is not a great experience. This is what I would call a crappy experience. So I don't know why it's not showing the tables. And I'm like, I can't figure out how to delete this object. Like I've gone into properties and there's a cancel. Maybe it's project data sources. Let's try removing the project data source. Say apply and OK. Now let's try adding another one. Data source, Postgres, localhost, username is, whoop. It's like frozen again. I'm trying to type in there and I'm just not getting it. I am sure that, because I have heard so many good things. I'm trying to type now. It's like lagging behind. I have heard so many good things about DBeaver. Stack Overflow. Okay. Introspection. Man, that's janky. Like, what? It's grayed out, but not really? It's not. It's kind of a modal dialogue, but not really. So, like, I'm cashing out here. This is, to me, this is a complete and utter fail on the GUI's part. I don't know what I'm missing. Like, and I just did a from scratch normal install on DBeaver or on DataGrip. I don't know. Other utilities are connecting to the database okay, and this thing just seems to blow chunks. Okay, good. Now at least we got the list of tables. All right, good. There's a step forward. Let's try. Okay, so we have a console over here. Morse says forget cached schema. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if, is there a diagnosed forget all cached schemas. So what's wild about this, see how, like, as I'm moving my mouse over there, oh, there it goes. I was going to say forget all cache schemas seems to be, oh, man, if that makes me redo. Okay, Stack Overflow, introspection in progress again. It just shouldn't take this long. I've only got like 7 tables. Public tables, users. Okay. All right, so let's try this now. Let's say, so test 1 is going to be single table query. God, it's like lagging behind. I don't know if it's like not, maybe it's not a universal application. Let's see, what is the activity monitor? Let's look at to see if maybe it's a Rosetta application where it's like still using, now it says Apple. Can't remember if there's a thing I have to hit on the drop down here to see which ones are natural versus which ones are Rosetta binaries. View. Maybe it's under here. Ports, real memory, sudden termination, restricted, energy impact. No, it's none of those. All right, so let's come back over here. So do a test of a single table query. Select from users where you This is good. This is good. Display name. It's so jerky though. It's like pausing continuously on this. Where display name equals Brent O's. It's unusable. Uh, order by U dot. What order are those in? Maybe they're the orders of the table columns as opposed to alphabetically. That's probably what it is. Why isn't there? It is. Reputation's all the way near the bottom. Reputation, descending. Let's see. Now we'll try select. What's with the show context actions? Why would you suggest that? That's bananas. U dot display name, U dot ID, U dot location. Okay, so at least that. What's with that? Oh, you want me to? Okay, all right. Quote identifier. Okay, that's kind of cool. So all right, so there we go. That works. Now let's try. Well, let's try executing it too, just to be sure. I don't know what their default run this one query is. The file in the editor is not runnable. Okay, maybe this is some kind of weird window that doesn't allow for queries, although autocomplete worked. Let's try new query console. Console 1, it looks like the same thing. Highlight, run. Okay, so that worked, but run. The file in the editor is not runnable. Why did this work? Maybe they call something. Maybe they call apps run and they call this execute. Maybe that's what it is. I wonder why they would even show run then, that in a data grip kind of thing. That's weird. Okay, so test 2, as far as I'm concerned, or test 1 is kind of a mixed bag. Let's try test 2, multi-table query. It seems to be a little more responsive now. Select, no, it is not. From users you in a join. Whew. Okay, so there are things that I like about where we're going here. It does have the run speed is just unusable though. It's just a deal breaker. I can't deal with this because I hit arrows and like all of a sudden it just stops for seconds at a time. But it seems to be auto-suggesting joins based on identical columns, which I like in theory, and I can understand how people like it. It doesn't make any sense with the Stack Overflow database. That's okay. I wouldn't, judge it poorly based on that. But so let's say join. I really don't like its indenting. Whoops. This is so useless. Post P on. Okay, so now it doesn't know anything. Now it's also it's not suggesting prefixed. Okay, that works. Equals P owner user ID. All right, so I'm gonna call this a fail. I don't know what's causing this thing to respond so slowly. I am using, just for reference, the absolute best Apple MacBook Pro you can buy, like a $6,000 MacBook Pro, with the M4 Max processor, I believe it is, 128 gigs of RAM. We'll say, yeah, 128 gigs of RAM. Now, granted, this is running in a VM with less, so this is 32 gigs worth of RAM. Just to see, we'll see if this thing's under any kind of memory pressure. It is not. It's only used 12 gigs worth of memory. It's DataGrip's not using much memory, although it is using a hell of a lot more than DBeaver. 145 threads, and we're not even doing anything. Okay, so I'm going to call DataGrip a loss on this one. I hold out hope that maybe I'm missing something obvious and maybe somebody can figure out what that is, like anybody from DataGrip is welcome to give me input on that, but that is utterly unusable. Okay, so next up, let's try, I'll go ahead and close DBeaver 2 just to do it. I'll go ahead and try Visual Studio Code. So it disappeared off my list, Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. So now this is like the first time I have opened Visual Studio Code in probably 6 months. This is also the first time that I've tried using the restart extension. Okay, sure. The first time that I've tried with Microsoft's new Postgres extension. So they have this new Postgres. I say new, it came out in like May, and this version was last updated in August. Oh, today actually. Was last, supposedly they're going to use this for their database work going forward. They have a SQL Server management extension for Visual Studio Code as well. The only stuff that I've got installed on here is GitHub Copilot Chat, GitHub Copilot, and Postgres. So now let's try the same thing over with Postgres. So let's see here. So I want to connect to Postgres. Getting my connection. Okay, localhost, databases, Stack Overflow, schemas, public, tables. Like I want to say to the DataGrip people, you see how fast that is? It just runs. Now, I will say too, though, it's not quite as good or as cool as DBeaver's deal, where it also shows you the sizes of the tables. But to be honest, I don't really use that a whole lot anyway. So let's go try and start a new query. Chat with this database. I love this so much. We're going to use this later. So we'll go test 1 is a single table query. We will say select from, it's interesting that it uppercases stuff here. From, why are you not showing table names? Let's try start. See, that's a no. That's showing me something totally different. PG create user. So let's try fully prefixing it. Let's say public dot. Now, so if we fully prefix it with the schema, then we get autocomplete. Well, that is a fail for me, but let's try it anyway. Public users, u. And if I hit enter here and it does UID, I'm going to be pissed. It did. That's bullshit. So where UID equals 1, that's idiotic, but okay. Where u dot, okay, that's cool. It doesn't show me the data type, I guess, until I move over it, and it defaults to ID. That's okay, though. I don't mind that. Equals, I like that. So it does, you tab, and it does John Doe. So we'll say Brent Ozar. Oh, that's so cute that it suggests additional stuff in the where clause. But now note where my syntax or where my cursor's at. As a typist, when I'm writing a query, what do I do here? At the end of a line, I'm going to hit enter. I don't want autocomplete with u.email something. We'll see what happens. If I hit enter, it didn't. Okay, good. I would imagine it's expecting if I hit tab, it's going to start with u email. No, it didn't still. Okay, great. Order by u, reputation descending. Okay. Let's come back up here and say u dot. That works. That works. I'm happy with that. U. It's a little overzealous with the autocomplete, but I'm okay with that. So at least it works. Oh, that's interesting. Control I or Command I to continue with Copilot. Wow, that's interesting. So let's see if that runs at least. Oops, oh, I'm so used to the DBeaver's shortcuts that I didn't look to see what run. Okay, that doesn't clearly mean what I want it to mean. I guess this is another one of those cases where execute means something different than run. Okay, so we have our results down here. That's cool. Let's say test 2. That's creative. It's wrong, but it's creative. Oh, let's try this. Test 2, multi. Oh, I love that already. How cool is that? I'll take that. I'll take that. I'm just hitting enter and tabbing. Look what it did. Look, look what that did. Now, I will say that part of the benefit of working with the Stack Overflow database is it is publicly accessible, and so it's included in a lot of LLM training data. This probably isn't going to be the case if we use your tables. If we go in, or if we create another database that isn't the Stack Overflow schema, and then we try some of these same tests. This autocomplete is utterly bananas because it's working with the Stack Overflow database, but I don't want to draw too much conclusion to that. And I didn't plan this out. I didn't plan to say that for my test. That's just utterly awesome. That's so complete. I am just entering my way down through here. That's great. That's fantastic. I love it. These are, again, it's LLMs just being absolutely bananas with randomly making stuff up. But in my case here, that actually works out pretty well. So I will take that. Test 3, create a table. Oh my goodness. Oh my, that is how AI is supposed to work, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. It even understands. It understands that we're in Postgres. It understands how to create a table that the first column should be an ID, that it should be serial, it should be a primary key. That is gorgeous. I'm going to try ID and then space. Oh, it did that. Okay. All right. That's different. Look at that. That is some bananas stuff right there. That is what we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That is how autocomplete is supposed to work. And now it said test 4 insert into the table. That's amusing. I love that. That's really cool. And I'm already just like falling in love with this autocomplete. But we were going to say create an index. See, oh, this is so awesome. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's so gorgeous. This is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, in terms of what we were trying to accomplish, this is as good as it gets. That is absolutely good. Yeah, Chris says flying colors on test 4. That is, I just can't imagine a better result for that. Can I imagine a better result of not putting IDX at the beginning of the index name? Sure, but who cares? That I'm completely okay with. I love that it prefixed the table name in the index because the stuff's got to be unique in Postgres. That's fantastic. I love it. This is gorgeous, so incredibly good. Okay, so it is so good that it makes me think, let's try query plans. So let's try doing explain. And when I went to go hit the explain, it didn't put in the parameters for explain. It put in a whole query. I hit Control Z and it gave me a different one. Oh, I'm liking that. That's not so bad. Analyze verbose. Let's throw in buffers. Cost off, I don't really care about. Let's see what happens when we execute this. I'm gonna have to relearn hotkeys. Execute. So query plan, how does this look inside here? Open a new tab. Oh. Do you want to always display, it's down here, it says, do you want to always display query results in a tab instead of the query panel? Nope. I'm going to say keep in the query pane. That's cool. Wow. I got to tell you, this is pretty gorgeous. Look, because it is so gorgeous, let's open a few of our training files and let's see if there's anything that jumps out at me. Why did I open that? I don't need that. Let's close out. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Close, close, close. Let's come over to fundamentals of index tuning. Why timestamp columns often need functional indexes. Let's try it. I opened it in DBeaver by mistake. Um, okay, all right, that's different. So let's do over here. Do you want to allow untrusted files in this? Yes. Open. Allow. Get repositories. Nope, not yet. No, not now. Select star from. So what I'm looking for is there anything in here where I go, this would be a good test for Visual Studio Code? So I like a select from a date range. Let's see if we do select star from users. And we did have to fully alias it to get it good, so I'm okay with that. For users, where creation date. Okay, it did it. Let's try it. It did a creation date greater than a number. I'm gonna or creation date greater than a range. I'm gonna say between. Yep. Okay. Good. It figured that out. That's not a great between, but okay. I'm loving that. That's pretty good. Explain. Da, 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 da. What happens if I do a format JSON? What happens if I do a format JSON for my explain plan? What's the shortcut for execute? We're going to have to execute this. Shift and enter. Okay, we'll try shift and enter. Query plan. What happens if I click on it? It pops it into a new window. That's nice. That's not bad at all. Close that. Don't save. I think I'm going to be switching to Visual Studio Code. I think I'm going to be switching to Visual Studio Code. Oh, okay. All right. So let's play around with the AI. All right. So we have. Let's paste in here. Let's try this. Execute. And let's find out. I'm going to try over here. We're going to try using the Copilot just to see what happens. And I'll move it over a little so that we can see it a little better together as I zoom in. Does this query, it says add context. Let's just try select 1 through 6. Will this query use an index on creation date? If not, how can I make this query perform faster? Now, it's got these drop downs in here. Ask or which GPT model do I want? Oh, I love it. And later on, I'll go through and add premium models as well. Because I have accounts for like Claude and all those. Ooh, look at you. Postgres wants to access language models. Yes, please. Fetching context. Oh. Yes. Yes, that is correct. Yes. Love it. Oh. Let me know if you want to create the index. What happens if I say, yes, please do? Let's see what it says. Let's try. Okay, good. Oh, that is incorrect. Its assumption for how to call check index is incorrect because it is a schema, then a table, if I remember right. And let's see, shift enter. Okay, so it did create the index on creation date, so that's good. So we'll say now, That's perfect. I love it. That's just absolutely gorgeous. I am a little sketched about how easy it was to get AI to do writes in the database. But other than that, this is utterly phenomenal. I'm completely in love with this. Okay, so before well, let's continue looking at the stuff in the script. Is there more stuff in the script where I go, oh, this it would be important that the tool that I use handles this? Kind of okay with that. Let's see if I can find any other examples that are lab designing partial indexes. Let's see. Say we have, let's go ahead and drop our indexes. Oops, it's Shift Enter. Then, are you going to execute it? Oh, you did. Okay, good. Status success. Say we have a leaderboard query like this. Let's put it in. Let's say, let's put this in a new window. Copy. We'll say paste. And we'll put this in here. We'll run it, do there, and then I'll say I'm going to copy all this. In this window. Now, I didn't, oh, yes, 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 it solved the problem correctly. So this is perfect. ChatGPT, or in this case ChatGPT, solved the homework assignment. Now, as a side note, this is always a little sketchy as an instructor. You wonder about your value as an instructor if you give someone a homework assignment. If they copy paste it directly into ChatGPT, does ChatGPT give them the right answer? If the answer is yes, is that dangerous for the value of instruction? And I'm going to say no, because part of it is that I had to kind of guide people towards the right answer. Maybe in the future I might want to word my stuff in a way that ChatGPT gets it wrong, but students get it correct. I think that's kind of a little ambitious. I also don't think it's fair. I think that people should be able to get the answers that ChatGPT gets to, or that ChatGPT gets the same answers that people do. So that's great. I love it. Can I clear the chat? Workspace chat history. I don't see a quick, easy way to clear it. I want to just, oh, new chat. Okay, there we go. New chat. So let's try it without prompting it so clearly. Can you, what index will make this query run quickly? Let's just try that. On the reputation column. Good. It did one on reputation and nothing, but it didn't do the partial index. That's perfect. Okay, good, because that means that there's still a value in my training. Because it indexed the whole freaking table, it would end up being a giant index. So that's perfect. All right, that's good. I love it. I'm really happy with this. Okay, so we've seen a lot of good results out of here. One of the things that I love about open source is, well, so there are two things that I want to do here. So let's write these down before I lose track of what I want to do. So my next steps. What the Sam hell? One of the things that's a little goofy with autocomplete as it goes a little bananas. I will retrieve this. So my next steps will be one, our look at release notes for Postgres extension to see what else it does. I don't know why it does this access stuff in here. That's kind of goofy because they're kind of the same thing. 2, look at open issues in the Postgres extension to see if there are any showstoppers. Why it keeps doing access at the end? That's a little stupid. It's just randomly throwing stuff out here. As long as it randomly throws stuff out here, I love doing stuff like this. Why is Brent Ozar's Postgres extension so great? That is definitely not the case. I don't have a Postgres extension. Okay. It's just so goofy. Why is Brent Ozar so awesome? I like that. How do I cycle through with IntelliSense and get the next one? Oh, look at you. That's adorable. It's utterly insane, but it's why is Postgres better than SQL Server? Okay, because I just laugh because it's Microsoft. Why SQL Server is better than Postgres? What? What? That's true. Oops. That's true. Whoops. That's very true. That's interesting. That's funny. Oh, I love this. This is so ridiculously. It's powerful and it's over the top. Okay, so Postgres extension for Visual Studio Code. Let's go see what else it does. Postgres extension for Visual Studio. It's right there in the marketplace link. Okay, so support operating systems. That's fine. Features connects to Postgres. Explore your database. Yep. Schema visualization. Schema visualization. Well, I don't think we have. I don't think we have foreign keys, so I don't think that's going to do a lot there. Let's look at it just to see. I don't think it's going to do anything. So we'll say visualize schema. Yeah, there's just a bunch of tables. It doesn't really. Oh, yeah, auto layout. That's funny. There's nothing to do because there's no foreign keys. So that's fine with the SQL agent. Chat with your. Let's do it just because it's funny. So, what are the most? I don't know that that's set up to be a query window. So let me just make doggone sure. Let's say new query. What are the most popular users in? One of the most popular users. Dan, I love ORMs because they help developers get to market faster. And of course, if we can't get to market, then we don't have any profit. A lot of DBAs will be like, developers should never use ORMs. They should write raw T-SQL. Yeah, but they don't have the time. They don't have the time and they don't have the training. So, so what are the most popular users? So good. That's funny. That's correct. What are their most popular posts? I should have said questions or answers. Yeah, there we go. Ooh. Oh, okay. That's not too terrible. All right, that's cool. So agent mode tools. Nope, we're not going to play around with that. That's fine. So I'm pretty happy with that. So let's see. Where is the GitHub repo? Here's the GitHub repo. Okay, so how do you judge health in a GitHub repo? What I want to see is, are people actually committing code? And they can be Microsoft people or they can be other people. Is there actual code getting committed? Are there issues outstanding that are deal breakers? Stuff that would make me say, oh, I don't want to use this particular thing. Visual Studio is different. Like Visual Studio Code is going to have all kinds of issues, like tens of thousands, because the thing's been out for so long. But they're going to be in things like C Sharp and Java and stuff that I don't really care about. So what I'm really worried about, though, is Visual Studio Code's Postgres extension. So in their commits, so they had, come back up here, 1.8 release, 1.7 release. Doesn't look like they're, yeah, it doesn't look like they're publicly keeping their dev branch available. Because there should be a whole lot more than this, than like just the updates for the change log. Boy, we're missing something here. Commits all users, and it's only showing the change log? That's really weird. That's really weird. Let's see, issues. And I'm going to sort by the most reactions. Source code. Oh, maybe they're not. Oh, no. No, I don't care about that. Are they? No, they can't be doing that. Hold on. No releases published. Oh, what? Oh. Oh, they don't have the code here. Oh, no wonder. Oh, okay. I'm like, how are they doing releases without any code? And then that's why, because there's no code here. There's just the issues. That's all they're doing. They're putting the changelog in here, but they're not doing the source code isn't here. Okay, I get it now. All right, very funny. Microsoft, how do you call that the GitHub repo? So it's not open source. Dan says, I'm stuck on whether I should create separate entities for the domain database. I don't, that's so far beyond me, unfortunately. That's way outside of my comfort zone. I really just focus on the database side. So let's see here. So that's interesting. Let's see, reactions, total reactions. So the person who said the source code, install through VS Code. Once installed, search your server for something like that. I don't really care about that. It does. Oh, what I was going to say is, what's the license for this thing? The license says it's the MIT license, but they're just not hosting the code here. That's kind of weird. So allow setting up a tunnel, can't install on Cursor, that's fine. I hear good things about Cursor for a Visual Studio Code type thing, but I'm not going down that route of Cursor because I try to find for teaching stuff I want to use something that's going to reach as many people as possible. So Cursor is something that I don't think most shops would be able to install due to the amount of AI type stuff in it. So. Visualize individual schemas. I don't care about that. Install error on Mac OS. Older Mac 12.15 is the current one, so I'm not worried about that. Support pSQL command in the editor. Tell me more about that. Create database, create table. Yeah, they're not supporting that. Okay, that's fine. I don't do that, so that's okay. It's interesting to see, though. Visualization of geometry and geography data types. I can see why people would want that. I don't really need it for me. Support for placeholders and queries. I don't care. Is linting available? Oh, that's interesting. Does not concur. Ooh, it doesn't include syntax error highlighting. Ooh. Well, it's not a problem for me because I don't make mistakes. I'm not. I'm okay as long as you have Copilot in there. I don't mind having no syntax highlighting because at least we can ask Copilot why the query's failing. So I'm not terribly worried about that. Export schema diagrams, I don't care. Disable auto commit, that's fine. That's fine. Huh. Curious more about that. Oh, when starting a new ask in Copilot. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't care about that. Oh, wow. Feature request. Interactive query plan visualization. Yeah, I'm sure you would love that, but I don't care about that. All right, cool. I love this. Okay, this is all good. Let's sort by, like, I don't see anything that scares me. So let's find the most recent ones, just to make sure that there hasn't been a recent, like, ugly breaking bug. So I'm okay with all of those. I'm okay with all those. This is good. I'm liking this. Now, what does scare me a little is I have no idea how vibrant um, the activity is behind the scenes at Microsoft since they're not showing the commits in here. Um, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so here we go. Change logs. This will tell us what they actually added in the last couple of months, and that's not good. There's not a lot. There's almost none. Okay, so this isn't the only Postgres extension that's available. So there are there are several. If I search for Postgres out in the marketplace, there's the one that I have installed, which is Microsoft, and it has 162,000 downloads. There's also this over here by Chris Kolkman that has over 1 million downloads. Last published, well, that one hasn't been, no, June 30th. Let's take a look at Postgres before 9.4 isn't supported. That's fine. Let's minimize some of this stuff and make it easier to see. Managing connections. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, God, that's terrible. I hope that's not the only way you can add connections. Repo. Let's go take a look. Chris said, is it last release 2023? Oh, man, I hope not. Um, oopsie, man, hold on. No. 2 years ago, 2 years ago. Oh no, Chris, you're right. I glanced at it and I assumed it was the same year. No, it is last release 2023. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, and their pull requests. Oh, there are pull requests that have not been even responded to anybody. Oh, man. Okay, so who owns this? Borvik. And he has done stuff, but not publicly. It's all private repos. Oh man, that kind of sucks. I'll see what issues are out there. At this point, I'm already out. I'm already like, nope, not going to happen. But reactions, sort by total reactions. Um, Holy moly. Overhaul. What you talking about, overhaul? Okay, well, that one. I can see why it was. Oh, God doesn't support running parameterized queries. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So much for that one. So it looks like so as much. So I'm. Oh, no. Oh man. There's another one. Last released in August. Telemetry client. Oh, I saw this one. Databaseclient.com, and this one costs money, I think. Uh, remove AI tools, restored AI tools. What on earth is going on there? Yeah, I'm not loving that either. Uh, SQL tools. Why did that freeze? SQL tools, Postgres. All right, that's just a driver. Um, did they put a changelog in here? No, at least they're honest with the changelog. Okay. Um, do I want to change over to this? Do I want to change over to this from DBeaver? Okay, so hold on. Let's look at DBeaver's changelog. DBeaver community. Well, I've got it over here in another window. Um, milestones. So what have they been doing? So they had no, that can't be true. Oh, those are the open ones. I was like, no, they've closed stuff. So they've been shipping several, but I don't know that they've been a lot of big issues. Um, yeah, line numbering stops working. Repo doesn't detect new version. It's not. I don't think they're adding features of any significance here. Let's see if there's news. Um, out of that. Oh, fixed a CVE. There's more activity here, but this is also a little tricky because it includes other databases, like things that they're doing for other databases. Um, I wonder if they do have the roadmap of stuff that they're doing next. They had the issue 3000. Uh, um, oof. New feature use anthropic models. Do I want to switch? So do I want to switch over to Visual Studio Code? So what have we seen so far? What I've seen that I loved was the autocomplete. The autocomplete was amazing. The tool was pretty decently fast. Um, do I want to switch over from DBeaver to Visual Studio Code, knowing that the Visual Studio Code release doesn't seem to have much of a track record yet? They're not publishing stuff on a big, frequent, regular basis, or like significant stuff, and it's still technically preview. It's not even general availability yet. I'm going to go with no. So I'm going to go with no. I don't want to switch over because if I do switch over, it's the kind of thing where I would want to go back and re-record my training videos to show in the tool of my choice. I don't think I'm going to do that yet. I think we may come back to this and dabble with it when they do a release version of it. I certainly don't see anything in there that scares me. The only thing that concerns me is their release, Microsoft's track record of not dedicating staff to tooling, like that they'll release a tool and then it just kind of fades away. Which does remind me, I wanted to go take a look at the SQL Server extension. There's a SQL Server extension for Visual Studio Code. Um, this extension is recommended based on files you recently updated. That's funny. So the Visual Studio extension for code, let's see the repo on this one. So there we have. See what a difference open source makes when you're actually doing the commits in GitHub as opposed to the Postgres one that is doing them in some other repo somewhere else. So here you can actually see that there's a vibrant history of things that are actually happening inside there. That's fantastic. That gives me a little bit more confidence there with those. Um, Pull requests. It's always interesting to see if there's pull requests that have been waiting for a long time. These haven't. These are only for just hours and days. There's a couple down here for weeks. That's pretty awesome. I wish that the Postgres one was as vibrant as this one is. That's kind of cool. Let's see, just out of curiosity, just because I'm in here and I like doing this kind of work, I'm going to look at issues sorted by the most reactions. Some people want a SQL profiler. Come on, that is not going to happen. I mean, maybe it'll happen. Who knows? Back up and restore database. Yeah, that's fine. People just want stuff. Okay, that's cool. It's not like it's showstopper problems. Okay, cool. So I think I'm glad I spent the hour digging into this because I'm pretty impressed with where Microsoft has gone with the Postgres extension. I'm delighted at how good Copilot seems to be inside of there. Compared to what we get out of DBeaver community, this for a free thing is really freaking good. But I think I will stick with DBeaver at least for the next couple of months, and I'll keep an eye on how the Postgres extension goes. All right, so I'm going to stop the live stream here. Out of what I wanted to accomplish, I did not do the PG admin side. I wanted to do a comparison with PG admin as well. I don't think I'm going to do that here. I'm just going to yank that out and say DBeaver versus DataGrip versus Visual Studio Code. We'll put in those in there. I'm going to say that sounds like a really low bar for success, but let's see how the tools fare. And then we'll say there. I don't know why I put PHP my admin. I should have said PG admin. PG admin, the kind of world standard for a free GUI, but I didn't really want something in a web browser. All right, so and then we'll put I'm actually going to post this stream out on the channel's YouTube or out on Smart Postgres' YouTube channel, and we'll make this particular recording for free. And I expect to get flamed. I expect people to be like, "Oh my God, you didn't do, here's the thing that you should have done to fix DBeaver." Hopefully they find something obvious and there's some setting that they're like, "Oh, you should just change this," or not DBeaver, DataGrip. That all of a sudden DataGrip will be spectacular, but we'll see what people say. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you maybe on another live stream. I am still not sure. Whether or not I'm going to continue doing the live streams or whether I'm just going to record the classes as I work on them. Like right now, we still only have 7 people inside here. If I Twitch stream on most topics, I get much more than that in terms of viewership. I think most of the Smart Postgres customer base is just more interested in watching the recorded stuff whenever they get the time. So I'm probably going to discontinue the live streams and then switch over to just publishing recordings of me working with the garage door open, so to speak. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see y'all around. Adios.